My name is Matshidiso Mnguni. I'm 28 years old. I'm an artist. I paint. So in 2009, I met Mr. Mashatile through Zimbata. We met, actually I was in Senton, and then Umtutuzi called us to meet up with him. Then later on he went to meet Mr. Mashatile at Nambita in Soweto, Evidagazi Street. So Mr. Mashatile was having dinner with his associates or friends, and then Umtutuzi walked me up to him, and then I'm telling you, this is CD, she's an artist, and he thinks that it's a good idea that I do a portrait of him. Then Mashatile was like, no, it's okay, then you can speak with Umtutuzi about the logistics of payment and stuff like that. We didn't speak for a long time because we were having dinner. Okay, then I did most of the communication with Umtutuzi from there on. He told two guys to come here to my home to bring him photos, 3 photos, and that I must choose one. So I chose one, and then I did the painting. Then it was January the 25th, they were having, okay, before that, I framed it. They brought someone, I still stayed in Centurion, so they brought someone over to tell me what kind of frame they would like that would coordinate with his office. So Umtutuzi called me and said he thinks it would be a good idea to go hand the painting over to Mr. Mashatile for opening of Parliament in Johannesburg. So I went there, I gave him the painting in his hands, and then a couple of people took photos of us. I don't know where they went, but I never saw them. Then after the lunch or whatever it was, Mr. Mashatile handed, or before that he asked me, how much is the painting? Then I told him it's 12,000. Then he said they'll take care of it. Then after he gave his wife the painting, she put it in the boot and they left. Okay, this time it was during his Katisama, it was the voting period or prior that. So then after that, I was doing it back and forth of sending them invoices, calling their offices, trying to get paid. Then eventually I decided, I think a couple of weeks later, I decided to call the office and to tell them. I had thought, no. I'm like, before that, I went to Senton, we were invited to Youth Commission dinner or something. So then we went there, and then after that, I walked up to him as a couple of people were walking up to him, and I told them, I'm Matshidiso, the lady who did your portrait, and he asked me, did we pay you? So I said no. So he said, okay, speak to either one of my PAs. He had 2 PAs.
But
yes.
Did he know about you before approach or just do
Is this the day?
No, during Youth Commission. Did that was introduced, or what did we pay you?
No, I just said I walked up to him, like people walking up to him, and I'm assuming just to do the whole hugging thing. And I thought, because he's, if you're a premier or whatever, it's not like I've got his cell phone number and I can call him and say, hey, I didn't get paid. So I figured this would be the chance, the only chance, because it's such a, you can walk up to him, where I can go tell him about that. So I walked up to him and I said hi, and he said hello. And I said, because I had only seen him, it was twice already. Once when I first met him, and the second time, opening of Parliament. So then I walked up to him and I said, my name is Matshidiso, the lady who did your portrait. Right. Then he was like, oh, okay, hi Matshidiso, did we pay you? Then I was like, no, you didn't pay me. Maybe we exchanged a few sentences, and then he ultimately said, did we pay you? I said, no, you didn't pay me. Oh, and then one thing that I forgot to mention is that opening of Parliament, he asked me how much the painting would be, and I said it's 12,000, and he said, okay, that's fine. So then when he said, Umtutuzi and the PAs will take care of it. I just asked Umtutuzi for their numbers and their emails. Then he was like, no, we're going to be here. If ever you want to come to the office and speak about this into the art, we are going to be here. Our doors are open for you, for the youth, blah, blah, blah. Okay, then after the dinner, I called their office a couple of times trying to get the money, and I had sent them the invoice.
How many times, approximately how many times?
Did I call them?
No, not called, but sending those invoices.
I can't remember. Maybe I had sent it once and called them a couple of times. That was a long time ago. I can't remember, but I'm sure maybe I probably sent it once. They didn't ask me for the first time to send it a lot of times. Then I spoke to them. Then I had thought, because Mashatile had not initiated the painting thing, I thought maybe if he was cornered, maybe if it wasn't Tutu's idea and he didn't like it, this would be my chance to get it back and just, yeah. So then I said to him, and I thought if they rang my phone, he wouldn't have rejected it at the opening of Parliament because there were too many people and maybe he didn't want to embarrass me. So I gave him the opportunity to give it back. So I called them and told them, Guti, listen, I understand that this thing was initiated by someone else. Maybe he didn't want it and he felt too embarrassed to say no. So I said, it's fine if you can't pay me. Just tell me where your guys, where your offices are. Then I'll come pick up the painting.
So you were talking no Montosa office?
I was talking to one of, at that time I was talking to one of the PAs.
Okay.
Yes. So I said, I'll come pick it up. Then she said, no, don't pick it up. He says, please give him 2 weeks to come up with the money. Then I was like, okay, I was confused at first coming up with the money. I mean, I don't know how much money he has, but I would assume he doesn't need to come up with 12,000. Nonetheless, I gave them the 2 weeks. They still didn't pay me. Then I called them again and I said, okay, then they said, no, we're too busy. He's never in the office. You probably won't find him because I get office in by a campaign and they're doing that whole rallying thing. Okay. Then I was like, okay, can I come get the painting? Then they said, no, we don't know where it is. We don't see it in the office, so it can't be here. Maybe it's at home. Then from there, this was in 2009. From there, it was back and forth, calling him to do what's going on.
What was Tutu saying to you?
Like the same thing, we're gonna pay you, don't worry, we're gonna sort it out. He never really had a solid story or a solid reason. He just, excuse me, say no, so sort her out or whatever. And I had expected to be paid by then, especially because Tutu never introduced the subject to me. He had said maybe this will be your opportunity. I mean, if you do a painting of some, especially because Mashatile, I think, was in the news so much during that time when he became the premier, that it would have been a good opportunity if someone picked up the story or whatever. But instead, it turned out to be something else. And then another 2 men who brought the painting were like, no, Tili, if you work really hard and you do it really nicely, this could open doors for you. Yeah, stuff like that. So then,
were those guys like where they coming from? Maybe to the office in Mashatile?
Yes. Everyone who I had ever communicated with was from an office, his office, whatever office he had been at the time. It was going to do his advisor. It was the 2 men who had brought the painting here. They were from their office. It was because Mtutu said, I'm going to bring 2 men from the office to come deliver it. I'm assuming they buy somewhere else or whatever the reason, or just they came to deliver it. Then the man who came to choose the frame, the color of the frame, was telling me what kind of office he has, was also from his office. Though I can't remember his name. Maybe it was Isaac or something. It's the name that's coming up in my head. Maybe he wasn't, but yeah. And then it was just general going back and forth. Then he was, not so long after that, he stopped being premier. Amuvela, I don't know if he went into arts and culture immediately or whatever, but yeah, he stopped being premier nonetheless. So then for a while, I think I stopped and I had just thought, they'll pay me. No, I just thought, let me give them a chance because it was a government cut. I think that's why for some time I kept quiet, because I thought, I understand these things, my procedures, and it's not like someone paying you from their pocket. Then after some time I realized, okay, they're not paying me. So all this time it's been, then I'd call him to again and say, do what's going on. Then he'd say, I mean, of course I can't remember conversations I had in 2009, but generally just say, no, we're going to pay you. Same story. Then someone called them. I don't even remember how this person heard about the story, or whatever. Then they called me, and then they asked for their numbers and called them. I can't even remember what newspaper. Then Mduduzi called, yeah, and then he was like, no, we're gonna pay you. Ninga be dramatic. You don't do this. You don't involve the press. It's not necessary. So I was like, okay, he sounds genuine again. And then he didn't pay me. Okay, then eventually got maybe a couple of years of that same story going back and forth. Okay, then this last year, 2012, I met someone who's a publicist to an artist. Then Batibazangsiza. So I went to their office. No, before that, I went to an award ceremony organized by my friend. So we're gonna want the government, and then they said the deputy minister, I think he was, of arts and culture is here. So after that, they were having dinner, and I happened to be having dinner on the same side as they were having dinner. So I walked up to him, and he was sitting with someone else from their parliament, and I was like, I want to talk to you about something. And then he said, okay, go ahead. So I'm like, I really don't want to tell you the story, but I just have to because you are the person who's inside. I don't know who else to ask. So he's like, okay, very friendly man, listen to me. And then he's like, okay, so that's your story. So I'm like, I'm telling you, I did a painting of Mr. Mashatile in 2009.
Name of the guy?
Mr. Joe Pal. Then I'm like, I did a painting of Mr. Mashatile in 2009, and I told him the whole story that I just told you. And I said, I don't know how to get hold of him. I can only speak to Udu, and so far nothing has happened, so can you please help me? So he's like, okay. And he gave me his card. He said, I'm going to try my best to help you. And then he said, on Tuesday, I think it was the next Tuesday or something, he said, I have a meeting with him on Tuesday. So just make sure that you send me an SMS in the morning before Ningene meeting, so that I remember. Because obviously they were meeting for their own things and they could forget. So it's like, no, just please remind me that Tuesday in the morning. So that Tuesday in the morning, I'm sending an SMS and said, just please remember to address the issue. He did. Then he got back to me and he said, CD, they're gonna sort it out. They said they're gonna sort it out. Then he got back to me again. I think he was like better at communicating, because he would tell me, you know, today I saw whoever, they're gonna call you. And then eventually he gave me someone's email and also gave them my numbers and said they are in charge, or maybe they're within the same department, they're gonna call you.
Yeah.
They called me, I sent them an email, they referred me to someone else. And then eventually I started speaking to a lady called Ulindiwe Kenende or something, I can't pronounce her surname. So Ulindiwe and I started communicating. She said, please tell me the story. I wrote her and I told her the story. This is from last year. So we're just going back and forth on my emails. She was also actually quite helpful in the beginning. She'd call me, if I sent her an email, it wasn't hard for her to get back to me, so she'd say, send me your ID, send me this, send me that. So I thought, okay, no need for the drama now, because it seems like they are going to pay me. Then she said, send me the portrait, so I sent it to her, send me your proof of residence. Then she sent me that form, and then I filled it in. I got
what was the form for?
I think it's those, I don't know what they're called, but I forget, but something form. I forgot. But it's one of those.
Vendor form?
No. But it's similar to it. You know, one of those forms when you get paid. It's got a name. I'll remember now. But anyways, they sent it to me to write down like a description of the job that I've done. Yeah, it's more like a vendor kind of form.
So it's like an invoice or what?
No. And then I filled it in, then amount, then they want this stamp from the bank. So I was like, okay, now this is real, they're gonna pay me. Then I sent it. Then the other day she sent me an email and she's like, urgent, blah blah blah, send me. She asked for something that I had already sent. I don't remember if she asked for the invoice again or something. So I assumed, okay, now the payment is in process, and that's why she says urgent. That's why she uses the word urgent. So I'm Tumela, whatever it is. And then we communicated, and I was like, Lindy, what happened to my payment? And she says these things take time. So I say it's fine, okay, I'll wait a bit. Then she gave me a
approximately
I think Linda and I started, yeah.
How many months have you been?
Me and her speaking. I think it started last year, October.
October.
Yes, until this year, sometime. This year, maybe before May. Then she was like, these things take time. Then at some point, she stopped responding to my emails. Like I'd say, I even remember that I think she gave me a date. Yes, she gave me a date and she said, she told me something about the end of their financial year, and I think that's either February or March, and she said, you're going to get paid after that. That's where the delay was. So I was like, okay. Then then I tried to her and say, hi, Lindiwe, why are you quiet, blah, 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 please get back to me about my payment.
Lindiwe, position I don't
know what she is, actually. I don't even think
but
we spoke about
my office in the Department of Arts and Culture.
Yes. And whatever departments they're in, I'm sure she works closely to him. Then I meeting no Mr. and the guy I was telling you about, and some other guy, and we were there to talk about an art exhibition, an all-women art exhibition I wanted to do with my sister Lindiwe, who I work with. So we wanted sponsorship from them, and the gentleman had said, Soma, you can just raise the issue because we'll be in the offices of your payment. So he introduced us, and then we told him about that project, and then he said, by the way, it is the lady who did the portrait of Mr. Mashatile. So he says, oh, Tidi, so you're the lady we've been getting emails from. So I say, yes. So he says, okay, no, don't worry, we're going to pay you. It's in process. I think he said, or Bazo Yisa Finance or Sei Local Finance, one of the two, so don't worry, they're going to pay you. Then Mr. Zolivanzi, he gave me his email and his number. Then we'd communicate, but mostly we'd speak about the other project. Then saying to emails, he also started keeping quiet at some point. In fact, I don't even know. I doubt he responded to any of my emails. I don't remember. If he did, maybe he responded to one. Probably one, if not two. But he wasn't, at some point he never spoke. He never spoke to me, never responded, he never did anything. Then I left. Then I went to Brazil for an art exhibition, and then I came back, and they still hadn't paid me.
When in Brazil?
It was in May.
May.
In fact, before that, okay, I don't think it's relevant.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about someone else trying to do the story, but yeah. So yeah, that's the story. Then it was just going back and forth, the same story. Even for now. 5 years, going, guys, can I please have? And then I forgot to mention that when I sent them the invoice, I sent them an invoice for 17,000 because I just feel like it's been long. It's been a very long time, and you should add interest. And I still felt like it was too little. But then someone else advised me and said, no, TD, there's a certain way to add invoice, and you can't just make it up from the top of your head to say, no, I think now I'm entitled to like 60,000 and just make it up. You can't do that. And yeah.
How many percent did you add with that 12,000?
I don't remember. I know someone worked it out for me. But because I'm not a maths kind of person. But
it's 17,000 now.
Yes. They were just like, this is the, and I remember we Googled and we were trying to find this, it was about compounded interest and whatever, how do you add them, stuff like that. Showed me how to calculate, he calculated it for me. And then I read up some articles that say you can't just like add it from the top of your head. Yeah. So, that's it. That's our story.